Did you know you could grow rice in Southern California? Yeah, I didn't. But today is the second annual rice harvesting at Huntington Gardens. This is the first in a series that I am doing on the Huntington Garden and libraries. This place is fascinating. There is so much to see and do here, but today I am just focused on the rice harvest and the Shoya House. The Shoya House is one of the latest additions to Huntington Gardens, painstakingly brought here from Marugame, Japan. The Huntington has restored not just this 17th century house, but also the grounds around it, which includes the rice paddies. And today, the public is invited to participate in its second annual rice harvest. You can see how popular it is with the line of people here, and then it wraps around to where I am, which is close to the back of the line. Here's a view of the rice field. The Huntington staff are responsible for cutting the rice stalks and handing them out to the public.
There you go.
Hi.
Hand this one to you right there.
Thank you so much.
They're going to want to go indoors and to the left in order
Thank
to
you.
tie.
So once you get your stalks, you head into the courtyard for the next step. So once you get your bundle of rice, you bring it into this line. They give you ties where you tie it really tightly.
Now pull it as tight as you can.
And then hang them in bundles over here. And they will hang and dry for 7 to 10 days before moving to the next step. The next step in the process is threshing and winnowing, and I am in the threshing and winnowing line. So the threshing process is actually where you get the rice off of the stalk, and you can do it either manually with these devices. You can just pull the grain through it and it pulls the rice off the end of the stalk, or they have the, I hesitate to call it a machine, but the larger thresher over there. This is just a demonstration. The rice isn't going to be used, so they didn't really care where it landed. In a real harvest, they would collect every bit of rice that was threshed from the stalk. Then you go through the winnowing process, which is once you have the grain in a basket or in a container, you just bounce it up and down, and if it's a windy day, it blows all of the non-rice away and the rice drops back down into the basket. And then you go to step 4, which is called polishing. So polishing is the process of removing the rice from the outer husk. You roll over the husk, it breaks, and you have brown rice inside, and then if you roll again, it takes the brown rice husk off and you have the white rice inside. Don't think that the stalks are discarded after threshing and winnowing. The stalks are used to create tatami mats that we'll see inside the Shoya House. I would be remiss if I did not tell you about the Shoya House here at Huntington Gardens. It is one of the most recent additions and such a fascinating history. This was built by the Takoya family around the late 1700s or so, and it was in the family for 19 generations. Mr. Takoya, who still lives here in LA, is in his 90s now, I think. He would go back to Japan and take care of this house and then come back over here where he lived. And his kids didn't want it, his grandkids didn't want it, so he contacted the Huntington and said, "Do you want this?" So they painstakingly disassembled the house in Japan and brought it over here and reassembled it using traditional Japanese methods. Mr. Yokoi actually lived in this house until he was about 10 or 11 years old. Now, Shoya literally means head of the village, and important guests would come through this front entrance, and the head of the village took care of all of the government matters, disputes, handled anything, and this is where they would come in, and these different rooms would be used for meetings, and then they would have slides that could separate from the family space. I have a short video over here that shows how they deconstructed the house and then reconstructed it here, and they have this sample that shows the different types of joints that the house had. But to see the joints, just look up to the ceiling. It's incredible. This shot shows the ceiling down to the tatami mats that I mentioned earlier. And then over behind me is the tools that they used, and they have drawers that you can pull out and see the actual original Japanese tools that they used to rebuild this. Here are some other details. This carving is called a ranma. It's an artistic focal point, but it also allows for light and ventilation between the rooms when the doors are closed. This is a Shinto shrine, specifically a kamidana, used to honor the kami, a Japanese term referring to the many deities, spirits, and sacred powers in the Shinto religion. And they also have a Buddhist shrine. It is back right in here, so it's behind this panel, kind of hard to see. They modernized the home about 100 years ago to add this brick oven. Let's look at some of the interesting things on the outside. The Yokoi family can be traced back to 1585 and became Shoya in 1600. When the house was built, the family crest was placed on each corner of the roof. Around the rest of the roof are tiles with symbols that look kind of like a yin-yang, but this is called a mitsutomoe. They're not just decorative, but they ward off evil spirits and invite good fortune. It must work because this house held 19 generations. Now this is interesting. This is a look into the bathroom, and no, they did not have these windows in the original house. This is for us. They also didn't have seats for using the bathroom. So you put your feet in the two large ceramic shoes which were fastened to the floor, and it helped with your stability as you squatted to do your business. Truly, this is information I could have lived without, but since I now have it, I feel obligated to share. You can see that they have finished harvesting this section of the rice. They do have one more planned on November 1st, where I think it's this section that they will be harvesting. So if you are in LA on November 1st, you should definitely stop by the Huntington and participate in this. It is a lot of fun and so informative. Find your adventure. Thank you for watching.